Hello and welcome to this, our 53rd episode of what was once called the Wi-Fi Chats, but is now called the Inner Lenses. Those inner lenses would be us in the persons of Gabby Sheshlock, Brett Corcoran, Erika and myself. And we decided today that we're going to talk about misanthropy, misanthropy, however you pronounce that. And Erica is going to tell us what it is, but I'll give you a broad picture. It's why don't I like people?
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm stuck on the various ways we can actually pronounce the word, first of all. So, yeah, not liking people in general, according to Google, trusted friend AI Google here, not liking people in general is called misanthropy. Misanthropy, however you want to pronounce it. It can stem from various factors, including past negative experiences, personality traits, or even social anxiety. While it's okay to have preferences about who you interact with, persistent negativity towards people can indicate deeper issues that may warrant exploration.
Well, I would suggest we will explore it here. And dear listener, I want you to be prepared. We are a split camp. Now, I know it might not be clear to you from the introduction who is a people person and who is not, but I'm going to let you come to your own decision. We might announce it. I've already said I don't fucking like people. And so I'm going to ask Brett, I'm going to put you in the camp of people liking, and I'm going to ask you to explain why you have a generally accepting and liking outlook on people, please.
So, I like people and I have a good outlook on people because you never know what you can learn from different individuals. And it's just really interesting just meeting different people, different cultures, from different backgrounds, and learning something new, being able to possibly adapt something. So, there's something special about just connecting and learning about that individual. And then who knows, maybe there's something I can offer them. So it's just a give and take kind of thing, and learning who they are and what about them is them. It's hard to meet somebody for who they are. Some people wear it on their sleeve and other people tuck it away. And when you meet somebody, you can read them pretty good, and you're like, oh, they got that tucked away real good. They don't want to be known, right? But there's a part where they will allow themselves to be known. There's just something about, I don't know, whether it's safety or everybody's got their thing. So I just enjoy people.
So what I'm getting is it's genuine curiosity and fascination with getting to know particularly new people.
Definitely.
Would one of the camp for the opposition, and I'm looking at you when I say this, Erica, like to put the other side?
So check it out. As a whole, do not trust the general public, which is full of people. So I don't like people because I find them to be selfish most of the time, rude a lot of the time, completely self-absorbed a majority of the time. My social battery is not very big either. So I think that it has something to do with how much energy and social battery I have to give and when it's being used. So I conserve my energy as much as possible, which makes me not like getting what Brett just said, being curious about people and wanting to know everybody and anybody I meet that's just not happening for me at all. And even when I'm getting to know somebody, it takes a really long time before I'm willing to say, yep, check, I like this person and I can allow them in. Alternatively, though, if I don't like somebody's not giving me good vibes, I will know that immediately. I can tell if it's just, I'm not feeling it with that person. I find the more I'm speaking about this, the more I'm realizing that my general dislike of people has nothing to do with them and all to do with me. And I am just irritable and cranky and intolerant, possibly, of some certain that might warrant further explanation, as above definition said earlier. But you could find me 4 out of the 7 days a week, maybe 5 out of the 7 days of the week, saying at least once, I can't stand anybody. I cannot stand, I hate everybody here right now. I'm done with everybody. So I think that is a me problem and not a general people problem. But listening to Brett, I could get on board of that, the curiosity of meeting people from different cultures or something like that. Surface level, that's cool. But if it goes any deeper, it's a longer process for me and I get exhausted by it, I think.
Gabby.
Now we have 2 left. We have 2 of the alternate camps left. So let's hear Gabby's perspective on why she's in the the pro people camp.
But the first point, actually, I want to make, and well, it's funny to say I don't like people or person because I'm a person. So if I don't like people, I need to hate me because I'm a person too, right? So for me to say I don't like people or humans makes no sense because in general, I'm a human. So if I don't like people, the question is, do I like myself? Do I trust myself? How do I turn up for other people? And is this a question mark why I don't like other people? So I'm with Brett. I find people fascinating. And the interesting bit is if you actually take even a little bit of time to listen to them and ask them questions, it's amazing what you can learn from people. And it's amazing to find out their stories, what they went through. I just love talking to people in general. And you know what? If you give them the space, these superficial conversations can go even with a stranger within 10 minutes deep. And they very quickly actually start telling you stuff that may don't tell other people. And I actually had friends who said to me, how did you know about that person? So they told me. Didn't you know that? You're friends with them for 10 years. I know them only for half an hour. And they're like, no, I never knew. Right? So I think it's more to do how we turn up for other people, how they respond back to us. So if I go out with the, I don't like people, I hate you, they pick up on that. So they don't trust me in the first place, and they will be superficial to me, and they will be funny, and they will be this and that, because I expect them to be like that. That's my preconception. The energy I put out will be aligned to that, what I think about people. People will pick that up. So I like people and I find them fascinating, and I will talk to anyone.
I'm making a mental note that when the 4 of us get together again, that if Gabby and Brett go off, we might not ever see them again. They're going to be talking to everybody. You and I are going to be sitting there waiting for them to come back.
So happily sat there with our buffer zone of don't come near me, stay away. Which may be why Brett and Gabby can't find their way back to us. They're just picking up on this energetic EMF that we're putting out there. I once had a conversation with my ex-wife about people watching, and I said, "What's people watching? What a stupid hobby that is." She was like, "You literally get paid to do it." I was in covert surveillance at the time. She said, Your literal job of bringing home the bacon is watching people all day, 24 hours a day." And I wonder, because from your definition, like previous exposure or previous negative experience, I think for me, 30 plus years in public facing frontline service has given me more than my stomach's full of people and their dramas and their situations and stuff. And the reason that I don't think that's because Gabby asked before we press the record button, are you sure you're in the right job? Because we're all coaches here. And the thing is, people that come to me are taking active steps to grow and change and find maturity and character and these types of things. Some of them have got further to go than others, but at least they're looking. Whereas, colloquial term from my policing days, much of the great unwashed of society are literally that. They're grubby, they're dirty, they're not even looking to buff off some of the rough stuff and see what's underneath. And that's the sort of shadow side of humanity, of people, because I am a people as well, that I don't resonate with, and I don't enjoy being in the presence of large numbers of ignorant people. And I'm not saying everybody is. You are all people. I like you. And so it's not all people. It's some slash the majority, I would say.
So what's interesting to me is I read that definition, right? So I'm looking at my computer here and it has that definition, but underneath it, it says possible reasons for disliking people. And this is where my ears perk up, right? Because if we are taking a look, like I said, it's not the people, it's me, right? I have to take a look at myself and what's going on for me that I am whatever with people. So you ready? Buckle up, everybody, because Alec, you and I might be hashtag we got issues after we hear this. But possible reasons for disliking people: a history of hurt, so past betrayals or mistreatment or abuse can lead to those emotions. Introverted personality, some people naturally prefer solitude and smaller circles. I check. Social anxiety, fear of judgment or rejection can lead to avoidance of social situations and negative feelings about people in general. Low self-esteem, feelings of inadequacy can fuel dislike for others, particularly those perceived as more successful. Ideological differences. I'm totally going over that one. I'm not even stopping on that one. Unmet, unrealistic expectations about others' behavior can lead to disappointment and negative feelings, or unhealed trauma. Past trauma can create a sense of vulnerability. So, you got 5 out of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 out of the 8.
If somebody was good at maths and could tell us what that was in a percentage, I would probably be doing like the Edward Munch.
Exactly. Hashtag we have issues. Hashtag further exploration definitely warranted to take a So look at this. You guys at people. Does any of that ring any bells for you at all as feeling like, oh, I can relate to that? I can relate to that. Because I can relate to a whole lot of these on top of that.
It's a very simple thing. It's generalization, isn't it? I got hurt by a few people in the past. Of course, I did get hurt by people in the past. That doesn't mean I suddenly distrust the entire 7 billion people on the planet, right? I got hurt by 3 people. 2 of my relationships didn't work out, so I hate 7 billion people now and don't trust them. So no, I as they come along. Of course, there's people I get on with and there's people I don't get on with, and that's about it. This is my book I work from. And people I don't get on with. Usually it just means we don't have nothing in common. We don't have the same interests. We don't have the same hobbies. We probably run out very quickly what to talk about. We just can't relate. That's really it. I can't relate to that person. Right? That's it. And then there's people I can relate to. And if I can trust them long term or if they will hurt me again, that's another issue. But that's in the future. I don't care when I meet them. That doesn't mean I don't like people. Right? It's to the individual and the relationship with the individual and how that works out. And I just work from the mindset, yeah, there will be always people which will be a disappointment or whatever happens. But look, I'm definitely was a disappointment to other people. Right? I think a few of my exes could say, I don't know, she was weird. She just disappeared one day without even talking to me or something like that, right? So I'm sure I hurt people in the past, black and white, because we're talking relationships and they're complicated in all forms and shapes. And I know, Alec, where you're coming from. I was so long in the service industry, worked in tourism. So if you have, get from clients, you get to a point where like, I can't do that job anymore. I'm sick of that. That's why I left it, right? But it was that certain type of atmosphere and complaints and that type of work I didn't like anymore. I didn't want to deal with that anymore. Still, that doesn't mean I hate suddenly people. I just don't do
What
the
about
job
you, Brett?
anymore.
I think, and I can relate to that too, because I work in a law firm and I see a whole lot of shitty behavior going on, right, with people that are trying to get over on something or do terrible things to other people, whatever. So it's just that stuff sits in the back of your psyche and it the general outlook, right? For me, anyway. Well, Brett, what about you? Anything on that list strike a bell for you, like it was for Alec and I?
Nothing on that list. I mean, like said it, I like going in, even if I go for my morning coffee and I walk in, I'll start talking to people at the coffee bar or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Start talking, and you don't know what comes up in that conversation. And you learn a lot. People will tell you a lot if you actually listen to the words and you don't turn off the hearing and you just speak to say something, and then that's it, it shuts off. But if your ears are on, you hear, like sometimes you hear they're having a bad day or they're whatever it is. And there's an opportunity to maybe throw something out there that can shift their whole day, right? And then it can actually come back and get me, where if I'm having a bad day and I start talking to others, it shifts me out of that bad day, because it's just that connection piece and putting it out there and being heard too. So there's something about the conversation piece that is powerful, and sitting with people, or just contact with people, that's really um, powerful. I don't know. There's a lot to learn in just the different types of people there are, and ways of dealing with things and coping with things, and it's I don't know. Everybody has a different thing. Even that guy that shower, or that's side of the road or whatever. Like, there was a guy that was in the town. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he was homeless. But he had millions of dollars. It was more a choice that he didn't want to have a house, and he didn't want to. And I didn't understand that. Talk here and there, and he would buy all sorts of like birds and food and cat food, and feed all the animals around, and it was pretty wild, but take care of himself, right? And it's just interesting, because that I can understand, like, where's come from, right? And the more I could understand some of that stuff, then maybe I can actually reflect back on some of my stuff, and it can actually help me grow in the same process, right? So by connecting with others and seeing it or feeling what's going on, I can then take that back and inventory myself. And if I resonate with somebody, then could help me, right? Hearing how they went through their process or what they did. And there's some kind of gold in what somebody's sharing, if you're there to harvest it, right? But if you're not, you're going to miss it. So I'm more about kind of being and offering out the gold, and listening for where the gold comes, right? So that I can utilize for myself selfishly. But again, it's going to help somebody else, because then I could use it later on down the road. So, yeah, really, there's something about it. Even difficult people, like, but I will sit with them and be like, man, all right, so we agree to disagree. Great day, man. I hope you have an amazing day. And sometimes I walk away from those conversations like, I'm not like that. And if I'm like that, I hope that there's a way that I can catch myself in it and get myself out of it. So there's recognizing parts and pieces, and there's so much. There's a lot to this topic, for me, at least.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, with your
Interesting
bread.
to me.
Mm.
Sorry, it seems to me that you both and Gabby have said there are people that we don't take to, or there's difficult people, whatever. So there's a recognition of relationships that aren't going to go further. Let's say they're not going to become deep or ongoing relationships. And it just seems that perhaps Erika and I are maybe preempting that a little bit. It's like, most part, people we bump into day by day are not going to be relationships that we want to further or develop. Um, and I'm more than capable of standing in the line at the supermarket and talking to somebody and hearing their story and what have you. And, you know, please, if you're listening to this, you can still get me on 1-800 I love you really. But suppose there is a kind of presupposition for me that I'm not really open to having more people in my inner circle. Outside of that, I work around people, and like, I have restraining orders all over the place. Well, they're in date anyway. But it's do you see where I'm in from here? This
So, but what about, how would you know if you want them in your inner circle if you're not communicating with them and have a conversation, right?
well,
So
it is
having that
true.
conversation, even that difficult person might just have a guard up. And by having a conversation, that I've to people that were really difficult, and they actually dropped the guard, right? So there was something there that they were protecting themselves, no different than, but then they guard, and then they're like an individual. I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. Like, what that allowed them to drop that and like just to peace and like remove it from themselves. It was so there's something about that. Um, yeah, the question. So how would you know you part of that inner circle if you didn't really have the opportunity to connect with them? Because if you're going off of the face, right, judgment, that's what it really is, judgment, right? When you look at somebody like, oh, I don't want to talk to that person, and then all of a sudden you talk to them, like, oh my God, they are so funny. And you're like, that my day, that was a great conversation. You might run into them again, and the next thing you know, anything can happen. So it is, yeah.
I say a couple things that came up as you all were speaking, right? So I'm trying to zero in and really pinpoint what it is for me. It's a general trust thing that I have. There is a level of mistrust that I sort of hovers beneath the surface there that, again, hashtag further exploration, I guess, maybe, whatever. But trust or lack of, or just a mistrust is, I think, what this whole thing for me. Secondly, do believe that I am more on the introvert side than social. It depends on my mood. It depends on the situation. But in general, I operate more introverted and whatever. So I like conserve energy. And I already think I spend a lot of time really actively, deeply listening to people already all the time. So there's something about energetically what that feels like to me is that when I'm going to get my coffee at 7-Eleven, I don't want to be doing that. I know that I can, but I'm energy, I think is what it is. So I have I conserve myself. I can't let everybody in. I don't want any more in my inner circle because I'm already trying to manage what I have right now. So it's an energetic thing, I think, for me, but it feels exhausting and tiring. So as far as like what you, Gabby, you're saying, connecting with people, I think that's what stops me ultimately. I was laughing before, not because you were speaking about that homeless guy, but this is what I'm saying is the energy feels exhausting to me that I for a brief second contemplated, what does it feel like to just live on the street feeding birds and dogs and cats? That feels really sort of me to be doing that. And then that's when I tapped into, wow, it's just an energy exhaustion kind of, I'm not open for everyone to me. Plus I don't trust anybody. So I think that's what couples with, yeah, I can't stand any, like, and then you see certain behaviors that are irritants to me that I just am like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with this. So that's what's coming up for me.
It's really interesting because that's another because I'm actually an introvert, but I figured out that if I sit at home away from people, I start overthinking. I go down these thought spirals. And if I take this in the very start and just go and talk to a person, that doesn't happen. Because in my 20s, I used to sit at home and go down these thought spirals and you're really depressed and sad and the whole lot. And it didn't work for me. And sometimes it was just a wee issue. And if you talk to somebody about it, actually gives you energy. If I sit at home, I start doing nothing. I can start sitting on the couch. My energy levels get trained. So with the right people, my energy levels actually go up. And that's why I like people as well, because they give me energy and they give me the not to go down those thought spirals.
Mm. So anyway, that's thoughts on misanthropy.
Anything from anybody else before we wrap this one up?
I will say I admire both Gabby and Brett and their ability to be so. I do. You're laughing, but as much as I say can't stand people, there is something within me that has a general love and desire to like be for people. Like I want to connect. I think it's more selective though. Like an open target, but I'm admiring your ability to do that. I'm gonna walk away from this call with maybe questioning, maybe a little more, because I have gotten that exact she's a bitch, don't talk to her, kind of, nobody will talk to me. And some of my good friends, you know, even after college, once we became good friends, were like, I was so terrified to talk to you. Like, you, I want to talk to you, but you're like, whatever. You're not like that at all. I'm like, that is just a protective, I even a conscious thing that's happening. It's just that whoop, the guard goes up. But I admire, and because I'm read all the time and actually see it in action, the way that he can just turn it on, literally anybody. And I am turn on the actual, like I'm a horse with blinders on, shoop, walk right past you and go in the car. Like I have an amazing parallel to watch, but I do admire both of you that you're able to do that.
All of our contact details for those who both want to hear from you and those who perhaps are slightly more selective are in the comments below. And I promise neither Erika nor I bite too hard.
It's really interesting. Side note is that the two of us who are leaning more towards, people thing are dealing, like our main thing is based in like grief, trauma, and all that kind of stuff. It's really funny.
Yeah. Come and talk to me about your shit, but don't expect me to like you.
Yeah. What you can expect from me. Help you through your shit, but we're not friends.
Thank you, everybody. See you in the next one.